Welcome to Church at Home with Rachael for Friday, the 21st of October. My name is Rachael Parker. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I am an Anglican priest in the Anglican Church of Canada, the Diocese of Edmonton, serving as the rector or priest for Dayspring Ministries, which is comprised of three different churches currently, St. Mary's in Edgerton, St. Saviour's in Vermilion, and St. Thomas in Wainwright in the beautiful southeastern part of Alberta, Canada. It's good to have you with me today. I was talking yesterday about the answer to, or the lack of answers to the question why. And then I found this piece of paper that I wrote it a long time ago. And it says here, teachers, the profession that creates all others. And I got thinking about that because I have been meeting a lot of people lately who are teachers. Some of them are bona fide teachers who teach in public schools and high schools and things like that. But a lot of people are teachers who are teaching me from different perspectives. For instance, Sarah, Rob's nurse on Wednesday, is an incredible teacher. She is helping us to learn how to live with congestive heart failure, what it means to make good decisions, what it means to make this decision over that one when it's not really a choice between two good decisions. It's just a choice between two decisions on how to bet the best quality of life and things like that. And one of the things that she said was, I'm going to support you no matter what you do. I'm going to be there with you. Now, we could have a conversation, and I suggest that you turn to the right, and you say, no, I'm going to turn to the left. I might argue with you about why you really should turn to the right, but if you turn to the left, I am going to go with you. I am going to support you. I'm going to help you to make that decision the best decision it could be. And I got thinking a lot about the fact that this is really what teachers do. Teachers, there's a lot of talk about teachers, implant information into a child's brain. 2 + 2 is 4, and this is correct grammar, and, this is how you should think, and everything like this. And then we get off to high school, and there's a little bit of critical thinking involved, and then off to college or university, and lots of people have lots of conversations about the need for university or college, and teachers and what are they paid to do because they get paid big bucks. I don't know where you live, but teachers get paid okay in Canada, but they certainly don't get the big bucks considering what they do. My sister is a teacher. She teaches high school geography, among other things. And she spends, she gets, sort of July and August off, technically. And she packs a lot into being a wife and mother in those 2 months. But even in those 2 months, she is thinking about lesson plans. She is taking the end of the school year into July to take apart her classrooms. She's going back into the end of August to set up classrooms, to prepare things, because there aren't often enough student textbooks and things like that. So she's coming up with creative ways to be able to teach that don't cost the students anything, because she's aware that a lot of students can't afford the things that school boards have sort of begun demanding that they provide for themselves. Teachers do a lot more than we give them credit for. And a lot of that is also this sense of what it is to think for yourself. I know that my sister would make an awesome teacher, even if she hadn't gone on to university and then teacher's college. She makes a better teacher because she did, though. The argument that university is useless, that we just, train up these people and they go off and do nothing with their degree. I'm sorry, but that's not true. Some of the greatest thinking has come from people who have gone to university. Some of those comments and some of those theories about how life is, and some of the work being done on such big things like medicines and climate change, and even thinking about how do we teach teachers and teach children, comes out of places like universities and colleges. Also, not instead of, but also a both and, is the work that comes from teachers who teach in the trades. You cannot have a mechanic, a plumber, an electrician, or someone who hasn't had a teacher. They have to have apprenticeships. They have to get their hours in working with a mentor, someone who teaches them how to do their job, someone who has already been taught how to do that job. So teachers really are teaching, it really is the profession that creates all others. I cannot think of one profession that there is that you didn't need a teacher for to begin with. Whether it was a formalized teacher in a classroom or a mentor or someone who took you under your wing to teach you how to do something, we all need teachers. And I wonder sometimes if we underplay the fact that not only do we all need teachers, but we are all teachers in some way, shape, or form. I remember learning how to do things watching my grandmother. I didn't become a very great cook, but I remember watching her being very calm, at least on the outside, as she cooked a meal for 15, 20 people at lunch because they had farmhands. And the amount of planning and organizing it would take, the math it would take to figure out how much beef you need for a roast to feed that many grown and growing men who have worked hard and are going to continue to work hard. How many jugs of lemonade do you need? How many cans of lemonade from the freezer do you have to bring out? How much bread do you have to make? How much salmon do you need to make dozens and dozens of salads or to dozens and dozens of sandwiches? The pie, how much dough you need. All of these things I watched as she did. She wasn't sitting down and saying, okay, now Rachel, this is what you do and this is how you figure out the math to determine how many sandwiches per person, etc., etc. She simply did. And I watched. I have seen so many people. I've seen little girls and boys going out and kneeling in the dirt beside their parent or their grandparent or their aunt or uncle or a neighbor, and with their little gloves on and their little tiny tools as they dug their holes to plant in vegetables and the seeds, and then they watered them all the time, looking to the side to see, is that how they're doing it? Can you remember a time when you mimicked the work of the hands of the person you were working with because you want to do it just like them? We're all teachers. We all exercise the profession, the vocation of educating some other person at some point in our lives. And I think it really is time to take credit for that. Take credit for it as we who teach, and you can take credit for that in your life for those that you have mentored and taught. But also I think to really stop, especially in today's political climate, and really give thanks for those people who dedicate their whole lives to teaching. Those teachers who, like my sister, get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to prepare her own life and her own kids' lunches and get them ready for school, who drops kids off at school, goes to school well before students get there, to prepare the classroom. In Jennifer's case, to go out into the conservation area where she's doing this incredible help program where they're working with the environment and teaching the kids all day long as much as they can outside, even things like English and math and science as well as geography, all in creative new ways because they are learning new ways to teach young people who have different ways of learning. If you don't think that's hard, think again. Teachers are faced with having to teach children who have had a good meal. They're teaching children who maybe haven't had a good sleep or a safe sleep. They're teaching kids often when they don't have the resources to do so, the textbooks, the pencils, the paper, the pens, the computers. And they're doing so always with the reality that, well, budgets are being cut, expectations are being raised. And yet somehow every day they go into those classrooms and they look at those children or those young people, and they look around and they don't see simply Sally, who hasn't had a haircut in 3 years, or Jack, who plays football all the time but never has any food, or like Florence, who is an absolutely brilliant child but doesn't have any family support at home to help her, or Alex, who has to go and work 2 part-time jobs after school every day, and that's why he doesn't get his homework, and yet he's a brilliant student. Our teachers are dealing with all of these things all the time, and for the most part, they love it, and they love our students, and they are the ones that help each of those children to create the profession that they will enter into, whatever it might be. So yeah, teaching is the profession that creates all others, and I think that's a pretty pretty amazing and profound thing. So on this Friday, as we celebrate the coming of the weekend and the acknowledgement that our kids are home with their homework and ready to try hard to get that done real fast, maybe, so they can go and play or work or hang out with their friends or whatever it is they do, let's not forget to give our nod of appreciation to the teachers of all sorts and sizes, in and outside the schools, in the many ways that they teach, that we might recognize and uphold them and give them our commitment that we'll help them in any ways we can because of the ways they're helping our children. Thank you for being a teacher. Now I encourage you to go out and thank one who does teach formally. Thank them for being a teacher as well. Have a great weekend. I hope to see you on Sunday for Gospel on the Go and on Monday for Church at Home with Rachael. God bless everybody. Have a great weekend.